Barry Lyon and Victor Emmanuel to give a quick presentation and a share on Polynesia. It's a trip that we will be doing in partnership this October, November, and we invite you to please ask questions. Everyone is on mute only now, so if you have questions during the presentation, please feel free to type them in and we will answer them at the end. You should be seeing Barry's screen right now. Barry, are you there?
Yes, I am, Lisa. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. Why don't we go ahead and start then?
Okay, well, thank you very much, Lisa. I'm Barry Lyon, Chief Operating Officer of Victor Emmanuel Nature Tours, and I'm here this afternoon with our company president, Victor Emmanuel, and today we are going to talk to you about an upcoming trip that we are operating with Zegrahm Expeditions. It's a wonderful cruise called Faces of Polynesia from Fiji to Tahiti, and this trip offers a transect of Polynesia in the Central South Pacific. This trip will be aboard the Caledonian Sky, which is a wonderful small cruise ship provided by Zegrahm. And with that, I'd like to introduce Victor Emmanuel.
Well, very nice to be here. I'm very excited about this trip. We did it last fall to very enthusiastic reviews from the people that went on the trip with Brian Gibbons, who is going to be the leader again this year. Brian is one of our most popular leaders. I first met him when he came to our summer camp many years ago when he was about 15. He lives in Tucson with his wife and son and is very enthusiastic, very knowledgeable. I think this sounds like the most delightful cruises we've ever offered. And one of the things that interests me is that it visits so many islands that have special birds found nowhere else but on those islands. Islands were the source of Darwin's theory of evolution, of course, from the Galapagos. And that's what made the Galapagos so famous, and everyone wants to go to the Galapagos, and I've been several times and love it. But this is like a tropical version of the Galapagos. Yes, the Galapagos are in the tropics, but because of the Humboldt Current, they don't have the tropical flora and fauna and as many of the tropical fish and birds. So whereas in the Galapagos you can see different mockingbirds, here you see fruit doves, you see kingfishers, you see parrots, all of which are very colorful. Plus you see many more kinds of tropical fish. So I think this is going to be an absolutely delightful trip. It's also famous because of course, Tahiti, where Gauguin painted his famous paintings and where Sir Joseph Banks went with the famous Captain Cook as the first scientist to ever go on an expedition and wrote about it. So it has a lot of history. It has beautiful seas to see. Generally, I think will be calm seas, wonderful weather. I think it'll be an absolutely delightful trip. And we will visit these different islands. On each island, enjoy wonderful studies of these tropical birds that are illustrative of evolution and how these birds evolved on these different islands. So I highly recommend this trip. I hope you'll join it.
Okay, well, thank you, Victor. And as we get started here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the route here. I've got to advance my slides, which are stuck at the moment, which isn't apparent to me why that is. But we have the one thing that I want to emphasize also about this trip is Victor mentioned the birding angle of it, and birding, of course, is a big part of it. But we like to also remind people that our Zegrahm trips, the trips that we collaborate with Zegrahm on, these are all-around trips, and they are also perfect for people who travel with a non-birding spouse or partner. And so in this case, snorkeling, beach walking, exploring sea caves, fabulous sunrises and sunsets, stargazing, all these things are qualities of this trip. And so that's why we think it really does offer something for everyone. Now, as we get started here, the names Fiji and Tahiti are famous locales. Everybody has heard these names before, but where exactly they are is a mystery to some. And I'm going to show you a couple of maps here. And to begin with, This is a map of the Pacific Ocean. Obviously, I've labeled it. Down in the left for markers, Australia on the left, and way at the top right of the screen is the western edge of North America. The Hawaiian Islands there, so you can see relative to the Hawaiian Islands, Fiji and Tahiti are way south in the region that we generally call Polynesia. Now, here is a more one-dimensional map, but in some ways is more illustrative of exactly where these places are. The shaded area is the direct area in which this cruise will operate. Fiji, of course, on the left, Tahiti on the right. And these are little specks of islands. You know, there's over 1,000 of these little islands that make up the region that we call Polynesia. And so taking a more detailed look at the route map, you can see that from Fiji on the left side of your screen to Tahiti on the far right, the cruise will operate from west to east, along a west to east route. And so I'm going to go ahead and take you through this here, and also commenting on some of the things that you're going to see. And you will fly into Fiji, okay? And so because the flights get in the morning, you will have part of the day. You'll gather in the afternoon for an outing before embarking on the ship later on. And as Victor had mentioned a while ago, the fruit doves are a real special bird, a family of birds that you will see in these islands. And the tropical Pacific is such a wonderful place to see these things. And this orange dove on the right here is perhaps the most beautiful of them all. It's certainly a stunning bird. But also just this waterfall scene here is a demonstration of these tropical islands, these lush tropical islands. I do have a listing of birds here, but I will show you some of them. This is one of my favorite slides here because this gives a wonderful example of the variety of these tropical birds that you'll see. Some of them are very colorful, such as this Fiji parrotfinch on the top left, the beautiful collared lory in the top center, and then the azure-crested flycatcher on the top right, along with other parrots and hawks and monarchs. This is just a nice representation of what the land birding would look like on the trip. And here is another page. This little flycatcher on the top left and the kingfisher on the lower right are also representative of these special groups of birds that do occur in the tropical Pacific. So, you know, once we have embarked the ship and we've explored Fiji some, the cruise will go slightly to the northeast up to the islands of Futuna and Wallis. Each of these islands that we're going to be seeing on this trip is a tropical paradise in its own right, with postcard perfect scenery, in addition to, of course, an array of birds that we will be looking for. But just really what this trip also does is that it really delivers the ideal of tropical paradise. You know, the waters, the blue waters of 1,000 different shades of blue, white sandy beaches, palm trees, and so on. And so this trip delivers that in spades. And here on my map, you can see up to the left here where Futuna and Wallis are. This represents the more northerly end of the cruise route, but this is on the trajectory northeast of Fiji. Seabirding is a major component of this trip. And here we have an array of terns and tropic birds, the beautiful white-tailed tropic bird in the top left, the stunning white tern, the lower left, and then an array of other things like sooty tern and black noddy. And I've got this photo of a Polynesian swiftlet in here because a number of the Zodiac cruises that you will do will go right up along the edge of some of these islands, and you will get along sea caves where these birds are nesting. And so, you know, in addition to the special land birds, this region hosts wonderful breeding colonies of all of these tropical seabirds as well. And then here again, Futuna and Wallis, here's another representation of what you will see. The special buff-banded rail in the bottom center, another species of fruit dove in the top right. But also, these areas are within the wintering range of a lot of shorebirds that nest in the Arctic. And so, for example, this shorebird here to the left of this rail is a golden plover, Pacific golden plover, and they fly across the Pacific in winter there. So, you know, for the people that are whose interest is primarily birding, in addition to these landbirds and these seabirds, you also get a range of shorebirds, which makes the trip more dynamic and more interesting. And of course, you know, I had a few minutes ago I had referenced the beauty of these islands, and this is a typical example. Each day when you visit a different island, this is the sight that you'll be greeted by: beautiful white sand beaches, turquoise waters, you know, bright blue skies with the puffy clouds. The whole scene is very alluring and is a daily component of the trip.
And let me jump in here and say that one thing about this trip, it's appropriate for people of all ages, all interests in birds and nature, and also in terms of the requirements, physical requirements of the trip. It's very easy to get in and out of the Zodiacs, to do a short walk around the islands. It's appropriate for people of all kinds of situations in their life, and will be absolutely delightful.
All right, well, thank you, Victor. Those are important points. The last time we offered this trip was in 2015, and that was a very successful outing. Here is actually a photo of the vent group on the island of Niuafo'ou, which is a part of the archipelago that comprises Tonga, as well as a very special bird called the Niuafo'ou scrub fowl. And this looks like the group photographed in victory after having seen this bird. And again, to show you where we are on the map here, after leaving Futuna and Wallis, we come down here to Niuafo'ou, and as we make our way toward the southeast. Here again, a representation of what you will see: boobies, more seabirds. There are two species in this area that you can see: the red-footed booby and the brown booby, as well as great frigate birds. And again, as important as these are, we always like to remind you that this is also a complete natural history trip. And so seeing things like sea snakes, as the one that's photographed here on the left, you just never know what each outing could bring. Whale watching, believe it or not, humpback whales are found in the Tonga archipelago, and this was a photograph that was taken by Brian Gibbons, who also co-led this trip in 2015. A nice fluke shot of a humpback whale. And you know, so in addition to the biology of the island, you also have got these interesting geographic features. And there are, on a number of the spots where we visit, there are sea caves, and these are products of the erosive qualities of the sea. Both of these photos, I believe, were taken by Brian. Certainly, the one on the right was. And this is an interesting shot because they've obviously gone into the cave and are looking back out at the ship, the Caledonian Sky. Here again, postcard, sort of ideal tropical beauty. Same type of thing with the water and the small islets and the palm trees blowing in the breeze. From there, we go southeast a little farther to the island of Niuafo'ou, also in the same archipelago. And there we will be looking for other landbirds. I do want to, again, take a moment to orient you on the map here. And we're down here at Niuafo'ou, where, again, we will be looking for some very special birds, such as whistlers, this beautiful black and yellow bird at the bottom center, the triller at the top, and then, of course, other fruit doves. I believe that this may be a part of the Cook Islands fruit dove. And, you know, you just never know what you're going to see, whether it's some special bird or whether it's a dazzling sunset. And when you get into these places in the South Pacific, you know, each day is often, you can be greeted by a glowing sunrise and then each night by a fiery sunset. And here is this is a beautiful shot here, but there's nothing exceptional about it in the sense that this is what you're treated to on a daily basis. It's really very special. And of course, you know, when one thinks of the South Pacific, one often thinks of snorkeling. And, you know, this trip, of course, it visits what are considered some of the finest reef systems in the world. The tropical Pacific is famous for this. Beautiful gardens of all kinds of coral, which of course in turn contains a remarkable array of fish. Here you can see people actively snorkeling and then looking down on some of these things. For people that are so inclined, there are opportunities for diving as well, as depicted in the image in the lower right. And here we are at the island of Niue, and this is a little farther along on the cruise route here. And there is as a matter of fact, this is the vent group from 2015. All of them having a good time, enjoying a Zodiac outing along the coast here of one of the islands. And here's Niue right here, again, part of the general Tonga archipelago. And some of the special birds that can be seen here are things like the imperial pigeon. Again, the shorebirds, this is a sanderling at the top. This gives you an idea of the fact that these birds fly all the way across the Pacific to winter in the South Pacific. Other things are these big flying foxes, these giant fruit bats that you can see, and you know, all providing wonderful photographic opportunities. Now, earlier I had mentioned going into some of these sea caves. This is another example of it here, and you know, you get some of these special birds like the white rump swiftlet that nest in colonies in these caves. And so when you go in addition to being treated to the sites of these highly eroded landforms, you've got the beautiful water, and then you're surrounded by nesting birds. It's really quite an experience. And again, when you think about tropical paradise, when you think about the ideal of the beautiful waters and so on, this is really ground zero for that, as it were. And again, more snorkeling opportunities. Snorkeling is an activity that is offered, I think, every day of the trip, certainly most days of the trip. And for anybody who's ever snorkeled before, they would know that no two snorkels are ever the same. And so you might actually, on occasion, find yourself torn between whether you might want to go birding or on another excursion, or simply get in the water and enjoy the fish.
My first snorkeling, because I don't swim because I had an ear problem when I was a kid, was on a trip in this general Pacific area, and I found out snorkeling was very easy for me, wearing a life vest, so I felt very secure and floated along. And I found it a marvelous experience, and now I've done it in the Seychelles, I've done it in the Galapagos, I've done it in Belize. It's a very easy thing to do and just delightful.
Absolutely. Okay, so as the cruise, deeper into the cruise, we will visit the Cook Islands, another famous place name in the lore of the tropical South Pacific. Here we will be looking for birds again. I'm going to show you on the map here the Cook Islands again. This whole region right in here are the Cook Islands.
Named after Captain Cook, who was the greatest explorer that ever lived, as you know, from his trips all around the world.
And here again, some special birds. This beautiful blue lorikeet on the right. This is a signature bird of the area. We will make an effort to see that. The white tern nesting. Believe it or not, the white tern just lays its egg on a bare limb like this. So the nice pair there. There's Pacific black ducks, another white-tailed tropic bird pictured here. This offers just a representation of what you can expect to see in the Cook Islands. Now, one of the other dimensions of this trip is that it is not purely natural history based. There are opportunities to engage in some cultural activities, and many people really enjoy having a chance to witness traditional dance, customary celebration, customary ways. And you will have a chance, for those that are interested in this, you will have a chance to do this on many of the islands that we visit. And still in the Cook Islands, here are some people photographing a bird that was above them. the island of Atui and the Cook Islands. This is our next stop. As you can see, this is more toward the east, to the southeastern corner of the Cook Islands. And here again, kingfishers, special pigeons and doves, parrots, like this beautiful lorikeet in the top right. And returning to the theme of wintering shorebirds, this bird in the bottom center is a bristle-thighed curlew. And the place where most people go to see these is in Alaska in the summertime, and it is not always easy to do that. Here on this trip, you will likely be treated to these birds in various places on their wintering ground.
And as Barry said, think about how far this bird has migrated over the ocean. There's something thrilling about seeing a bird on its wintering grounds and knowing where it came from.
Absolutely. And again, this is a Cook Island fruit dove, beautiful little fruit dove in the bottom left there. And, you know, seabirds, the ever-present seabirds, but the variety changes. You can see here in the center, we have got a masked booby, in addition to the brown and red-footed boobies on the right side, and the beautiful red-tailed tropic bird, which is one of the most beautiful birds in the world, in my opinion. They are exceptional things, and here you've got a beautiful shot of a bird directly overhead, and all of these photos were taken from this trip. I mean, this is not just these are not just photos that we found somewhere and put in here. These are photos that depict real-life scenes that you will be seeing on this, should you join us. Last, as we get toward the end of the cruise route, we come into the Society Islands. And in particular, we're visiting the island of Tahiti and the nearby islet of Bora Bora. You know, of all these islands that we have discussed and looked at, perhaps none are more famous or better known than these.
As I mentioned, that's where Captain Cook brought Sir Joseph Banks and the botanist, and who became the unofficial Minister of Science in Britain when science was just developing, and so it's very, very famous.
And there are, you know, again, more chances for birding. Another beautiful fruit dove here on the left-hand side. These are the waters around Bora Bora, more tropical, paradisical settings. And of course, you know, this is sort of the ideal, I think, of the Bora Bora and Tahiti region. These stirring images that sort of capture the imagination, really. And so, you know, throughout this trip, which is roughly 2 weeks, you will be traveling aboard the Caledonian Sky, which is a beautiful vessel. As you can see here, it only takes 100 passengers. It is a small cruise ship. And what is so critical about this is that, you know, unlike traveling with the large commercial mainstream cruise companies that take thousands of people, you are traveling in what is a very intimate setting. And not only that, you are traveling in beautiful accommodations and with very excellent cuisine. And so while cruising this very remote corner of the world, you are also doing it in comfort and in style. And we just can't say enough about this ship. You know, here are some other views of it. There's the top left there is one of the public areas, the lounge. The top right there is a view of the deck. And so while you're at sea, you know, you're going from one island to the next, you'll have a chance to be up here and to enjoy unobstructed views of the surrounding ocean and the islands and whatever seabirds you happen to be seeing. The dining room there in the bottom left, it seats the entire passenger contingency in a single seating. As you can see, it's very lovely, beautifully appointed, as are the cabins. Here is a beautiful suite down here on the lower right. And so, you know, you can see for yourself that this is really a very beautiful vessel, and we think it's really the perfect vessel for this particular voyage. And you know, as we come to the end here, again, I will introduce.
Well, I want to mention and emphasize to people that Zegrahm is offering a $1,000 air credit per person to make this trip, even another incentive to sign up for this trip. And it's not a trip that is offered by that many companies, not offered that often. So I hope you'll take advantage of this air credit, take advantage of the opportunity to go on this trip with Brian Gibbons. To say people that went last year were extremely happy with the trip, and I think it will be absolutely delightful.
Yes, and should you like some more information on it, you can visit our website or contact our office and ask to speak to Greg Lopez or Patrick Swaggerty, or you can email them, and their respective emails are here. And here, of course, is also a photo of your tour leader, Brian Gibbons. So we hope you will enjoy us, and thank you for listening today.
Thank you, both of you. I always learn something new, and I love the pictures. I think I'm going to try something different. I'm just going to unmute everybody. So if you have a question for Barry or for Victor, please go ahead and ask. Here we go. Okay, everyone should be unmuted, and if you have a question, just please let us know. If not, you can contact Greg at Vent. His email is on the screen. As Barry and Victor mentioned, Zegrahm is offering $1,000 per person air credit, so that'll help you start your trip off in a good way. If there's no questions, I guess we will close it out today. I appreciate all of you, your attention, and for joining us this morning. Thank you all.
I get $1,000 plus. What if we could still have that credit for bringing clothes?